Hey, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. Uh, First, I want to welcome all the new subscribers, both here and over on Patreon. Uh, for some reason, it just keeps on growing, keeps on coming. I guess times are changing, or maybe more people are learning about me and interested in what I have to say. I'm glad to hear that. So, if you're here and if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. Hit the bell so that you get a heads up when I have a new one out, and to let your friends know about it. Love to have you over on Patreon if you're not already. That's where I cover um, the more specific things. Here on YouTube, I cover the broad, kind of the broad brush things. Um, and over there, we'll talk more about, exactly what we should be thinking about, what we should be doing in in light of what's going on in our world. So welcome to you all. Want to talk about WROL, without rule of law. Have you been planning on it, thinking about it, preparing for it? Well, I hope so, because it's here. Um, may not be the kind that people have been thinking about. It's not necessarily the kind where there are roving marauders and golden hordes spilling out of the cities. Uh, at least not in the way that many people have thought about them. I'll tell you, there are roving marauders, and there are hordes of people, but but they're operating in a way that's different than most preparedness-minded people have thought about it. If you're going to be able to deal with this, what's coming, you need to be able to understand what it is. You need to prepare for exactly what it is. If you doubt that we are in a WROL situation without rule of law, look back to the last election. Look back to the things that happened for a year before the election. Look at things that have happened since. If you think that there is a law, or at least a legitimate law, in control, think again. There's a law. There's a law that's behind all this, but it's the law of the jungle. It's not the jungle that most of us would be more comfortable in. It's a jungle of the 21st century techno jungle, a combination of high technology and low technology come together in kind of a pincers that are coming at us from both directions. If you're going to be able to be successful in this, you need to know the tactics that are successful against these. And I don't mean it's not the kind of tactics that's, hey, I'll cover you while you improve your position. That's not the kind of tactics. The tactics that are going to be necessary for us to not only survive but to potentially improve our positions are totally different than most so-called preparedness-minded people have concentrated on. Now, I don't say so-called in a deprecating way, but so often in the past, the idea of preparedness has been centered around, basic survival, beans, bullets, band-aids type of things. Um, this is an entirely different threat. And to be honest, I view it as a much more dangerous threat than if it all just went back to the Stone Age or the 1840s, which would be more applicable here. This is a lot more dangerous because the power disparity between those who want control over us and us is almost insurmountable. But I said almost. Doesn't mean that it is insurmountable. So it doesn't mean that people should give up. What it means is that people need to start, engaging their minds. Engage your intellect. Think about how you are going to deal with the threats that are coming your way now. In order to do that, you have to be informed. This is why I say pay attention. Don't disconnect from cable. Don't disconnect from the social media. If you do, you won't know what's going on and you won't be ready for it. Use these properly. Use these not as entertainment, but as information structures. You need to know what's going on. Now, don't be consumed by them, because if you get all consumed, it's no better than being consumed with, who survives the, I don't even know. I've never watched any of those survival shows. Who gets kicked off the island, or who gets the rose, or whatever. Yeah, I know you'll say, well, you knew something about the rose. Well, I heard about it. If you get consumed by it, then it's using you, and you don't want that. You want to make sure that they're not using you, but you are using them. They're putting all the information out there. Well, not all, but they're putting a lot of information out there that you need to know. And simply by separating yourself and saying, I'm not going to be a part of it. Hey, you're a part of it. Okay. That's like saying, well, I'm not going to go on lookout. I'm not going to stand post because I don't not into all that stuff for those people who are attacking us. Well, you say that to the guy who's coming around checking posts, and guess what? He's going to take you off the post, and you're going to find yourself doing something else. This is your post. Be prepared to understand what's going on in the world around you, not only globally but locally, because locally is where the fights can be won. Nothing major, national, global can't be won, can't even be fought unless you fight the local ones first. So if you're not fighting those, you're really not in the fight. You're just kind of waiting back for something to happen that's fantasy land, that say, well, at this point, I'm going to start fighting. Well, I tell you what, it's not going to get to that point, because probably, most likely it's not going to get to the point to where everybody says, okay, it's time to go, let's get up and, show what we're about. Well, little things are happening every day that are piece by piece, minimizing your ability to do that. If you want to know how to start fighting back on this stuff, I'm going to cover, well, I already have covered it quite a bit over on Patreon. These are the things that I am going to be dealing with over on Patreon. Now, you're going to have to be intelligent. You're going to have to know how to listen to what I say, okay? Because I am not just going to come out and say things in words, if you understand what I mean, okay? You have to be able to see. I'll do the strokes, the brush strokes, but you got to see the picture. That's one of the things that people need to be a lot more adept at if they're going to be successful in this WROL, okay? Because like I say, it's not without law. It's of different laws. It's laws for some and different laws for others. And just to stomp our feet and say, well, that's not fair. Well, okay, so it's not fair. Remember when you're about 2 years old, the first person that said, hey, guess what? Life's not fair. Okay, it's not fair, so what? You have a decision to make. It's not fair, so you're gonna curl up in a little ball and cry and say it's not fair, or you can say, well, okay, how do I learn to deal with this world that is not fair? Okay, and sometimes, you know what? It's never a fair fight. You gotta learn how to fight unfair. I've said in the past that, well, I don't think I'll get into it in depth here on YouTube. I will get it over on Patreon. Those of you who know that I work, well, no, I'll tell you what, I'm not even going to get into it here. I don't want to put it on YouTube. So if you want to know about it, come on over to Patreon. It just costs you $1. I'm not trying to pimp your dollars. I don't need your dollars, but that's where it's going to be. That's where I'm going to be talking about it. And I'm going to be sharing some things that I think you need to know. Not only will you get information from me, but there are some very, very smart people over there with a wide range of experience and knowledge, and you'll get a lot from them. Also, I ask when people come to Patreon, you'll notice a little bit difference in the community. It's a good community of people, and I like people to contribute, and by that I mean contribute to the conversation, whether it's by statements, passing on of whatever knowledge you have, or questions, or whatever. That's where a lot of learning is going to happen over there. on YouTube, there's just a lot of jumping up and down and whining and complaining and bragging and chest thumping and things like that. And I tell you what, that's not going to get the job done that we need to get done. So start thinking about things a little bit more. I'm not quite sure how to say this. Understand that the battle we're fighting now is one that we fight not with brute force, but with intelligence and the application of applied intelligence. And if we have any hope of bringing something out the other side of this, that's where it's going to come from. Okay. Now there may be times when brute force is necessary, but once it gets to that point, and it can be a reinforcer of intelligence. I mean, military force is always the hammer that gives the power to diplomacy, right? So without it, you're a toothless dragon. Well, we have our teeth. We want to keep our teeth. But we want to be able to win this thing in a way that's going to sustain, whether it's this country. I don't think that it's going to be the way this country is now. I don't think that America, the way it has been, it is going to continue a lot longer. But I do believe that there's a chance that we can come out the other side of this strong in our own way, and maybe even, how should I say this, construct a different reality from the one that's trying to be pushed on us. Okay. Now I hope you all saw between those lines. I hope you were able to read those and see the picture that I'm kind of painting for you. We're going to be talking a lot more about this, and every day is going to bring us a new piece of news that's going to add to our intelligence, to our concerns, and will let us know the direction the other side is going. Now, one thing to keep in mind, the other side is not stupid, and sometimes they seem stupid, but and they do stupid things, but they seem stupid to us. These are the ways that they achieve their goals. We have to stop thinking that they're stupid, understand that they are smart, because what they're doing is helping them achieve their goals. And we have to fight it against it the way that will be successful. Okay. WROL is here. It is here because the rule of law that applies to some of the people that you see on the news does not apply to you. And the law that applies to you does not apply to them. And when this happens, we are no longer a country of laws. We are a country of men, which is dangerous. And this is exactly what the founders fought against. It's exactly what they tried to protect against. So it's a new chapter. It's a new chapter, and there's different laws for everybody. If you obey an immoral, unconstitutional, or essentially illegal law, what does that make you? If you disobey an illegal, an immoral, or unconstitutional law, what does that make you? Those are the things that you need to decide. Okay. You all have a good day. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. Living well tomorrow is my number one goal. And it should be yours too. I'm sure it is. So you all have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.